Hello guys and gals, and this is part 25 of our reading of the Harvard Classics, and the Harvard Classics are comprised of the Apology, Phaedo, and Credo of Plato, translated by Benjamin Jowett, the Golden Sayings of Epictetus, translated by Hastings Crossley, and the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, translated by George Long, edited by Charles W. Eliot, LLD, with introduction and notes. And we're going to go over the copyright information, which is right here. Copyright 1980, 1937, and 1907 by Grolier Enterprises Corporation and manufactured in the United States of America. Let me turn this page over to see where we left off. Okay. We left off... Wait. There we go. Let's see. Here we go. Find the right page. And here we go. We were to number 6, I believe. If thou findest in human life anything better than justice, truth, temperance, fortitude, and, in a word, anything better than thy own mind's self-satisfaction in the things which it enables thee to do according to right reason, and in the condition that it assigns to thee without it thy own choice. If I say, thou seest anything better than this, turn to it with all thy soul, and enjoy that which thou hast found to be the best. But if nothing appears to be better than the deity which is planted in thee, which has subjected subjected to itself all thy appetites, and carefully examines all the impressions, and, as Socrates said, has detached itself from the persuasions of sense, and has submitted itself to the gods, and cares for mankind, if thou findest everything else smaller and of less value than this, give place to nothing else. For if thou dost once diverge and incline to it, thou wilt no longer without distraction be able to give the preference to that good thing which is thy proper possession and thy own. For it is not right that anything of any kind, or of any other kind, such as praise from the many, or power, or enjoyment of pleasure, should come into competition with that which is rationally and politically or practically good. All these things, even though they may seem to adapt themselves to the better things, in a small degree obtain the superiority all at once and carry us away. But do thou, I say, simply and freely choose the better, and hold to it. But that which is useful is the better. Well then, if it is only useful to thee as a rational being, keep to it. But if it is only useful to thee as an animal, say so, and maintain thy judgment without arrogance. Only take care, and thou makest the inquiry by a sure method. Never value anything as profitable to thyself, which shall compel thee to break thy promise, to lose thy self-respect, to hate any man, to suspect, to curse, to act the hypocrite, to desire anything which needs walls and curtains. For he who has preferred to everything else his own intelligence and demon, and the worship of its excellence, acts no tragic part, does not groan, will not need either solitude or much company, and what is chief of all, he will live without either pursuing or flying from death. But whether for a longer or a shorter time he shall have a soul enclosed in the body, he cares not at all. For even if he must depart immediately, he will go as readily as if he were going to do anything else which can be done with decency and order, taking care of this only all through life, and his thoughts turn not away from anything which belongs to an intelligent animal and a member of a civil community. Number 8. In the mind of one who is chastened and purified, thou wilt find no corrupt matter, nor impurity, nor any sore-skinned over. Not is his life incomplete when fate overtakes him, as one may say of an actor who leaves the stage before ending and finishing the play. Besides, there is in him nothing servile or affected, nor too closely bound to other things, nor yet detached from other things, nothing worthy of blame, nothing which seeks a hiding place. Reverence for the faculty which produces opinion on this faculty is entirely depends whether there shall exist in thy ruling part any opinion inconsistent with nature and the constitution of the rational animal. And this faculty promises freedom from hasty judgment and friendship towards men and obedience to the gods. Okay. Number 10. Throwing away then all things, hold to these only which are few. And besides, bear in mind that every man lives only this present time, which is an indivisible point, and that all the rest of his life is either part or it is uncertain. Either past or is uncertain. Short then is the time which every man lives, and small the nook of the earth where he lives, and short too the longest posthumous fate, and even this only continued by a succession of poor human beings who will very soon die, and who know not even themselves, much less him who died long ago. Number 11. To the aids which have been mentioned, let this one still be added. Make for thyself a definition or description of the thing which is presented to thee, so as to see distinctly what kind of thing it is in its substance, in its nudity, in its complete entirety, and tell thyself its proper name, and the names of the things of which it has been compounded, and into which it will be resolved. For nothing is so productive of elevation of mind as to be able to examine methodically and truly every object which is presented to thee in life, and always to look at things so as to see at the same time what kind of universe this is, and what kind of use everything performs in it, and what value everything has with reference to the whole, and what this reference to man, who is a citizen of the highest city, of which all other cities are like families. What each thing is, and of what it, next page, is composed, and how long it is in nature, and this thing to endure, which now makes an impression on me, and what virtue I have need of with respect to it, such as gentleness, manliness, truth, fidelity, simplicity, commitment, and the rest. Wherefore, on each occasion a man should say, this comes from God, and this is according to the appointment and spinning of the thread of destiny, and such like coincidence and chance, and this is from one of the same stock, and a kinsman and a partner. One who knows not, however, what is according to his nature. But I know, for this reason, I behave towards him according to the natural law of fellowship, with benevolence and justice. At the same time, however, a thing indifferent, I attempt to ascertain the value of each. Number 12. If thou workest at that which is before thee, follow right reason, vigorously, calmly, without allowing anything else to distract thee, but keep thy divine part pure, as if thou shouldst be bound, and give it back immediately. If thou holdest to this expecting nothing, fearing nothing, but satisfied with thy present activity according to nature, and with heroic truth in every word and sound which thou utterest, thou wilt live happy, and there is no man who is able to prevent this. Number 13. As physicians have always their instruments and knives ready for cases which suddenly require their skill, so do thou have principles ready for the understanding of things divine and human, and doing everything, even the smallest, with a recollection of the bond which unites and the divine and human to one another. For neither wilt thou do anything well which pertains to man without at the same time having a reference to things divine, nor the contrary. Number 14. No longer wander at hazard, for neither wilt thou read thy own memoirs, nor the acts of the ancient Romans and Hellenes, and the selections from books which thou wast reserving for thy old age. Hasten then to the end which thou hast before thee, and throwing away idle hopes, come to thy own aid, and thou carest at all for thyself, while it is in thy power. Number 15. They know not how many things are signified by the words stealing, sowing, buying, keeping quiet, seeing what ought to be done. For this is not affected by the eyes, but by another kind of vision. Number 16. Body, soul, and intelligence. To the body belong sensations, to the soul appetites, to the intelligence principles. To receive the impressions of forms by means of appearance belongs even to animals. To be pulled by the strings of desire belongs both to wild beasts and to men who have made themselves into women, and to a Phalaris and a Nero. And to have the intelligence that guides to the things which appear suitable belong also to those who do not believe in the gods, and who betray their country, and do their impure deeds when they have shut the doors. If then everything else is common to all that I have mentioned, there remains that which is peculiar to the good man, to be pleased and content with what happens, and with the thread which is spun for him, and not to defile the divinity which is planted in his breast, nor disturb it by a crowd of images, but to preserve it tranquil, following it obediently as a god, neither saying anything contrary to the truth, nor doing anything contrary to justice. And if all men refuse to believe that he lives a simple, modest, and contented life, he is neither angry with any of them, nor does he deviate from the way which leads to the end of life, to which a man ought to come pure, tranquil, ready to depart, and without any compulsion, perfectly reconciled to his lot. Now we are ready for chapter 4, or part 4. That which rules within, when it is according to nature, is so affected with respect to the events which happen, that it always easily adapts itself to that which is possible and is presented to it. For it requires no definite material, but it moves towards its purpose under certain conditions, however, and it makes a material for itself out of that which opposes it, as fire lay hold of what falls into it, by which a small light would have been extinguished. But when the fire is strong, it soon appropriates itself to matter which is heaped on it, and consumes it, and rises higher by means of this very material. Number 2. Let no act be done without purpose, nor otherwise than according to the perfect principles of art. Number 3, men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores and mountains, and thou too art wont to desire such things. Very much, but this is altogether the mark of the most common sort of men. For it is in thy power, whenever thou shalt choose to retire into thyself, for nowhere, either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble, does a man retire than into his own soul, particularly when he has within him such thoughts that by looking into them he is immediately in perfect tranquility, and I affirm that tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. Constantly, then, give to thyself this retreat, and renew thyself, and let thy principles be brief and fundamental, which, as soon as thou shalt recur to them, will be sufficient to cleanse the soul completely, and to send thee back free from all discontent with the things to which thou returnest. For with what art thou discontented? With the badness of men? Recall to thy mind this conclusion, that rational animals exist for one another, and that to endure is a part of justice, and that men do wrong involuntarily, and consider how many already, after mutual enmity, suspicion, hatred, and fighting, have been stretched dead, reduced to ashes, and be quiet at last. But perhaps thou art dissatisfied with that which is assigned to thee out of the universe. Recall to thy recollection this alternative. Either there is providence or storms, fortuitous concurrences of things, or remember the arguments by which it has been proved that the world is a kind of political continuum, community, and be quiet at last. But perhaps corporeal things will still fasten upon thee. Consider then further that the mind mingles not with the breath, whether moving gently or violently, when it has once drawn itself apart and discovered its own power. And think also of all that thou hast heard and assented to about pain and pleasure, and be quiet at last. But perhaps the desire of the thing called fame will torment thee. See how soon everything is forgotten, and look at the chaos of infinite time on each side of the present, and of the emptiness of applause, and the changeableness of what and want of judgment in those who pretend to give praise, and the narrowness of the space within which it is circumscribed, and be quiet at last. For the whole earth is a point, and how small a nook in it is this thy dwelling, and how few are there in it, and what kind of people are there who will praise thee. This then remains. Remember to retire into the little territory of thy own, and above all, do not distract or strain thyself, but be free, and look at things as a man, as a human being, as a citizen, as a mortal. But among the things readiest at thy hand, to which thou shalt turn, let there be these which are two. One is that things do not touch the soul, for they are external and remain immovable. But our perturbations come only from the opinion which is within. The other is that all these things which thou sees changes immediately, and will no longer be. And constantly bear in mind how many of these changes thou hast already witnessed. The universe is the universe is transformation. Life is opinion. Okay, just checking the time. Okay, number 4. If our intellectual part is common, the reason also, in respect of which we are rational beings in common, if this is so, common also is the reason which commands us what to do and what not to do. If this is so, there is a common law also. If this is so, we are fellow citizens. If this is so, we are members of some political community. If this is so, the world is in a manner a state. For of what other common political community will anyone say that the whole human race are members? And for thence, from this common political community comes also our very intellectual faculty and reasoning faculty and our capacity for law. And whence does this come? For as my earthly part is a portion given to me from certain earth, and that which is watery from another element, and that which is hot and fiery from some peculiar source, for nothing comes out of that which is nothing, as nothing also returns to non-existence. So also the intellectual part comes from some source. Number 5. Death is such Death is such as generation is a mystery of nature, a composition out of some elements and a decomposition into the same, and although not a thing of which any man should be ashamed, for it is not contrary to the nature of a reasonable animal, and not contrary to the reason of our constitution. Check again. Number 6. It is natural that these things should be done by such persons. It is a matter of necessity that if a man will not have it so, he will not allow the fig tree to have juice. But by all means bear this in mind, that within a very short time both thou and he will be dead, and soon not even your names will be left behind. Number 7. Take away thy opinion, and then there is taken away the complaint. I have been harmed. Take away the complaint. I have been harmed, and the harm is taken away. Excuse me. Number 8. That which does not make a man worse than he was also does not make his life worse, nor does it harm him either from without or from within. Number 9. The nature of that which is universally useful has been compelled to do this. Number 10. Consider that everything which happens justly, and if thou observest carefully, thou wilt find it to be so. I do not say only with respect to the community of the series of things, but with respect to what is just, and as if it were done by one who assigns to each thing its value. Observe then as thou hast begun, and whatever thou doest, do it in conjunction with this, the being good, and in the sense in which a man is properly understood to be good. Keep to this in every action. Number 11. Do not have such an opinion of things as he who does thee wrong, or such as he wishes thee to have, but look at them as they are in truth. This next one's kind of long. We'll try it. A man should always have, number 12, a man should always have these two rules in readiness. The one, to do only whatever the reason of the ruling and legislating faculty may suggest for the use of men and others, to change thy opinion if there is any one at hand who sets thee right and moves thee from any opinion. But this change of opinion may proceed only from a certain persuasion as of what is just or of common advantage, and the like, not because it appears pleasant or brings reputation. We are to number 13, and we are probably going to end it right here. We'll make this one a little bit shorter. We still have a long way to go, but we are making progress. Anyways, we have been reading from the Harvard Classics, and specifically the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. And if you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. Also, want to support me in any way, if you want to join the Discord server, all information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.